Well, I've had the truck sign written, as you can see. If I'm going to spend hours on the road, I want people to see what's going on. I want to promote the Project Nigel channel. And of course, discretion is the key. Look at that. Look how small this is, yeah? So long as you're kind of 10 feet away, you can read it. And that's the trick, you see. From 20 feet away, you'll see it and think, what's that? I need to go and have a little look. And as you have invested your time walking over to my transit face to see what's going on, you're more likely to have a look at the channel. Well, off I am, having a little trip out. I've got my box of food, which consists of egg mayonnaise sandwiches. And in today's egg mayonnaise sandwiches, I've tried a little thyme, and I don't really think it works. But I made it, and I'm going to be eating it. The disappointment has come already with filling up with diesel, because last week I put in all the diesel from Project Waste. Gosh, that's quite a lot. It took it to just under half a tank. So I was quite pleased by that. I thought it would save me some money. And then I went to Morrison's as well, which has cheaper diesel, and it still cost me £90. £90! Well, after all that, I am 10% on my way there, which gives you some idea of how far away I'm going. Safe to say though, I will spend a lot longer fixing this car than I will collecting it. On my phone, you can set it recording by simply doing that. It recognises the hand and says, yeah, you obviously want to record something, which is great. But what if you haven't got 5 things? It's not going to work, is it? And that is Samsung taking away the opportunity to set off and record for someone with fewer than 5 things. And I think that's kind of prejudice. Not prejudice, but you're not catering for the minority, are you? That's disgraceful. That's it. Boycott Samsung. Jeffrey boycott. Everywhere I go, I look out for Rovers, not so much MGs. If it's an MG that's actually a Rover, then I'm looking out for it. So how many will I see on this journey today of nearly 400 miles? How many do you reckon? Well, I'll tell you at the end, but so far, 63 miles in, none. Everybody will have noticed that you see people in their cars picking their nose, yet if they were stood that distance away from you, they wouldn't be picking their nose. It's part of this being in your own space, thinking you're invincible, and nobody's going to notice that you're picking your nose. Not that picking your nose is anything to be worried about. Picking your nose releases endorphins, so it's actually quite a healthy thing to do to give the bogey cave a good clear out. Participating in this pastime while sat at traffic lights helps relieve stress, so fewer accidents happen because of cleaning out the conch. What is that? What do you think of fully autonomous cars? Why would you want one? Personally, I like driving. Not so much on roads like this where it's just a boring road, but I like the input, I like the steering. I like to steer, I like to change gear, I like to press the pedals, I like the feel of the acceleration and the G-forces back and front and side to side, etc. Somebody who doesn't like all that sort of stuff may well be attracted to the fully autonomous car. That to me is a bit like going on a dating site and looking for that one beautiful woman that openly says she doesn't want to have sex ever again. And you know the driving simulators? That's a bit like having a blonde dog. It's not funny enough. The further south you go, the more smoky it gets. And there's a different kind of, it's a different smelling smoke in the south as it is in the north. It's kind of, it smells a bit like apples and mushy peas. Do you ever find when you've just done 180 miles on the motorway, you come to the end of it and you forget what to do? Journey, 183 miles to go. It was 181 to get here, but when I got actually to the destination, my truck said 192. So there's sat-nav miles and transit-based miles. And transit-based miles are always higher, and they certainly feel a lot more as well. Feel more like 500 to be honest. Considerately put together bridge. Look at that. What a lovely bridge. No, don't want this to be happening. If I could just drive at a straight 60 miles per hour all the way back, I might not have to put any more fuel in. Well, while in this slow traffic, may as well just talk about the car that is on the back of transit base. Is a Rover 216 automatic, single cam Honda engine, broken, rather tatty looking, loads of MOT. So it has a rather undecided future to be honest, because if the engine is truly knackered, it's going to be a bit awkward to know if the engine is truly knackered. Is it not? I'll find out later on. The car already has a name. Now, I started naming cars traditionally with men's names and gentlemanly names most of the time, except for when I had an MG ZR called Dave. But, you know, an MG ZR isn't a gentlemanly car at all, is it? But this one has already got a name. It's called Amy. So this is Project Amy. It's been Amy for a long time. And I know that when I had Project Kurt, it did start off as being Goldie, and I didn't realise. Well, I thought I had a rule at the time. I thought I had to have boys' names. I didn't realise I could just choose anything I like. I could call it Project Tuberculosis if I wanted to do. Don't even know my own rule book. That is a very tidy E39. I used to have one of those, and the one thing I really didn't like about it was the rust, and that one appears to have none. I'm hoping that was the last roundabout bit of traffic I have to deal with, because it went from 3/4 of a tank to 5/8 of a tank in just a few miles there. That's a rather brave colour for a van, that. I like it. As I drive along the airport like this, questions come into my mind. Questions like, when I'm editing this video later, am I going to be having a beer? And should I stay up late? Because I can. Yep, excellent. Even the most boring of roads, like I was enjoying that time-lapse sequence then as well. But the bumps on the road knocked my phone flying off its cradle and onto the floor. And I had to pull over to pick it up, turn the engine off first. I was just overtaking a truck and about to pull out, and I realised the car right behind me. It was that car. 300 miles so far, and I've got half a tank of fuel. 80 miles to go. It's not really half a tank, it's probably a quarter of a tank. Due to the shape of the fuel tank, which is kind of like that. Yes. 385 miles, 3/4 of a tank of diesel, thereabouts. Project Amy. Yes, Project Amy. Says Amy on the back of there. Named after Amy Winehouse. Well, first impressions of this car is it's definitely not going to be any kind of show winner. Not without masses and masses of work. But it's had a recent MOT and it's untidy, but it's solid. The other side has just as much lacquer peel and some remains of some stickers at some point. But besides that, it's not dented anywhere. It's just, oh, it is there actually. It is a bit rusty. It's a bit rusty. It's very peely. And a bit mossy, a bit patched up weldy as well. That's really, something's really growing nicely there actually. Wonder what would happen if I pulled that off. Inside this car there is one feature that I've never ever seen anywhere ever before. Yeah? Yeah? Interesting. Doesn't look like it's been used very much at all with the amount of cobwebs knocking about. It's not damp or mouldy or smelly in here. It's just a bit, well, unused. Now, there's something really badly wrong with the engine, but I don't know what it is. So let's, I've got a note saying don't start it, but if it's already broken, what harm's it going to do? That's a flat battery. Underneath the bonnet we have another bomb-proof Honda engine. There doesn't seem to be any coolant in there. It smells very, very petrol-y. I'm getting high. I think you know what's happening next. That's more than enough for a Saturday. So nice to be in a car again. Comfortable seats with that horrible ear-jangling diesel engine and the bouncy ride chopping you about all over the road, and the air conditioning. Yeah. I actually feel like going for a drive now. Yard cat. Meow.